Good day, everyone. This is going to be another one of those extra credit assignments designed to fill in the gap between the regular assignments in the class for folks who are up to speed in the class and just want something else to focus on and practice with. So I hope you enjoy this. So what I want to focus on today with this assignment is humility. And I have a way that I'm going to suggest that you practice cultivating true humility in your life and in your practice. But before I offer that to you, I want to just say a few words about that word humility and what that means to me. So it's a tricky word because I feel like the way that word is used in our culture does not convey what that word is intended to convey, at least for me. Or to say it another way, I feel like there's a conditioned version of humility and more of a natural centered version of humility. And of course that's the way it is with everything. I mean, conditioned mind has its fingers in everything that is going on and tends to corrupt everything. And so there, with nearly everything, there is a conditioned version and a centered version. So I want to talk about the difference between those two things. So the conditioned version of humility is basically self-judgment and self-blame. That's how I see it at any rate. And I see a lot of that going on in our society. People feel like they need to beat themselves up in order to improve. They need to feel bad about themselves and in order to make other people feel okay about things that they have done, maybe that have been unskillful, and that sort of thing. And we don't need that. That is not helpful and not necessary. And that word humility is, from what I can see, is not really much a part of our conversation. It's just not used that much culturally. And I think that's the reason, is because people don't like and resent the sort of conditioned expectation in our culture that we're going to feel bad about ourselves all the time. And we're going to apologize for ourselves. Another version of false humility, I think, is, we're not allowed to feel good about ourselves and to congratulate ourselves on, our accomplishments and what we've done. Either that, and this is sort of the other side of it, or we're going to overly celebrate our accomplishments by kind of propping ourselves up and trying to look good and draw attention to ourselves. None of that that's all conditioned stuff. None of that's any good. And that's not what I'm pointing at all when I use that word humility. The true, to me, and this is just purely, as everything I've said and done in this class, this is purely just my own take on things. But for me, what that word humility points to, when it's true humility, is really our authentic relationship with ourselves. Or to say it another way, who we really are. The recognition of who we really are is actually one of my favorite words because of that. Because if you think about it, being in a conditioned place, being an identity inside conditioned mind is extremely arrogant. Because when we're identified in that way, we put ourselves at the center of the universe. And we assume that, the way we're feeling or the experience we're having or what we want or whatever is the most important thing in the world. It's very arrogant from a certain point of view. And letting go of conditioned identity and settling back into who we actually are requires a tremendous amount of humility, because it requires us to let go of that, of putting ourselves in the center of everything. Another way I like to think about true humility is that the path that humility offers is the path that connects us with the place that we are here to occupy in this earth. It's to find our place in the scheme of things, in other words, because we each have our own special place. It's not special in the sense, in an arrogant way, like, I'm better than, or less than. Less than is just as arrogant as better than. It's not that kind of sort of place in the scheme of things. It's more natural. It's like, this is where I am. I am in this place, in this situation in the world, and I have this work to do. This is what I can offer. And again, and I'm not offering it because I want to be special. I want to be different. I want to be better than, or I'm not going to prevent myself from offering it, and so that I can feel less than and be arrogant in that way, or to be. I'm not going to position myself as a victim to life. That's another way that false humility manifests is I'm a victim to life. Everybody is doing this to me. The experience I'm having is everybody else's fault, and I'm a victim to circumstances or to other people's machinations or whatever. All of that is not. There's a place that we can occupy when we're in that place, but that's not true humility. True humility recognizes that, I'm just one of billions of people on this earth, and there have been hundreds of billions of people who have existed on this earth. I'm not special. I'm not. There's nothing that's going on with me that is more important than what's going on with everybody else. And yet, in a way, at the same time, I am special. I have a special gift. I am the only me who has ever existed. And I have special gifts to offer to this world just within the sphere that I occupy, as small as that may be. And it's a beautiful thing to acknowledge that. And it's empowering, too, to me. It's empowering to recognize I don't have to be a big shot. I don't have to accumulate masses of possessions, or I don't have to have a bank account that's full of money in order to feel good about myself. I can feel good about myself as I am, and yet at the same time acknowledge that I'm not better or worse than anybody that's ever existed. Okay? So that's just my take on it. So you can look at that for yourself and see what humility is. And if you feel like, putting some of your thoughts in the class, I would love to hear that and just hear what does true humility look like for you. Okay, so on to the assignment. And also, so I'm going to give you this particular assignment, something to practice in your life, and then I'm going to do a short guided imagery with you. And the guided imagery is, will sort of connect with this and just kind of give you a different experience and something else to look at. So the assignment is to practice humility in a tangible way in your life in some form. And I'm going to give you some examples of what that might look like. And there's two kind of areas. Particularly what I'm hoping you'll focus on is in relationship with others, with other people, but it also could be in relationship with yourself. And I'm going to give you some examples. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually give you some real examples from my own life that are current, so you can see what this is like for me and how I practice with this, because this is a big part of my practice. So what we're looking for is a place where you've done something unskillful in the sense of you've acted out of conditioned mind in some way. And when you've done that, that is going to be inherently arrogant. And so what I want you to do is choose something small. It could be big if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be, because we're just practicing something. It doesn't matter what size it is. So probably something small. A place where you have acted from the arrogance that is always a part of conditioned mind. And what I want you to do is to clean that up, which is going to require great humility in order to clean up a place where you have acted arrogantly in life. So for example, something that came up for me recently, I mentioned in the class, I don't know how many of you actually saw the post. It was a conversation with Dana that I was having where I talked about a relatively new relationship that I'm exploring with a woman named Kathleen. And Kathleen she's a very strong person and a strong woman and very expressive. And I have some male conditioning that is afraid of female strength, which a lot of men carry, I think. And there's a conditioned tendency to try to, not in any gross ways, but in subtle ways to want to kind of quash that strength when it comes up in her and suppress it in some way. And we were together not long ago, and there was a small way in which I did that. And I kind of, there's an unconscious thing that happened in me that I acted out of, where she was expressing herself, and I squished it when she did that. And in the moment, I could feel that I had done that in the moment, but I didn't really have the wherewithal in the moment to clean it up. But I realized afterwards that it happened, so I decided that I wanted to clean it up. So I went to her and said, look, I want to acknowledge that I did this. When you said that, there was some conditioning that rose in me out of a fear of female strength, and I wasn't there for it, and it came through me, and this is what I did. And I just want to acknowledge that I did that, and I want you to be aware that I am aware that is in me, and that I do that, and then I'm going to be working on doing my very best that doesn't act out in our relationship. So that was something that happened. And notice, I'm not apologizing. I didn't apologize. Apology to me is another form of false humility. Of course, it depends on what you mean by that word, but often what people mean when they're apologizing is that they're basically saying, I feel bad about myself. I'm beating myself up in front of you so that you can see that I regret what I did. That's not helpful. I'm not into that at all. Because that's just a conditioned thing. I don't need to feel bad about myself. And the thing that happened with Kathleen that I just described, I didn't feel bad about myself. I mean, there's a temptation to feel bad about myself because that's what my conditioning wants to do. But, I've worked with that, too much to really want to fall for that. So, I didn't feel bad about myself, but I did want to acknowledge that I had been unskillful. And that, to me, is a really different thing. And so, that required a humility in me because I had to admit that I had done something that was not true to myself. So another example, and this is in the same relationship. I mean, this relationship is providing most of my opportunities these days. So another example in the relationship was that intimacy, I feel very intimately connected with myself, and I've been working on that for years. But, I was in a monastery for years and years and have had less of an opportunity to practice being intimate in the sense of being fully present with someone and open and vulnerable with someone, with another person. And so, often with Kathleen, I do feel like I'm able to drop into a place of real intimacy with her, and sometimes I can't. Sometimes there's this conditioned defense mechanism that wants to keep me, just sort of a little bit separate and to withdraw a little bit and keep up like a veneer between she and I. And what I'm practicing doing there is when that happens, I can feel it when it's happening, and she can feel it too. And so just to acknowledge it, say, hey buddy, I just want to acknowledge that thing is here right now. I'm feeling a little separate. I notice myself withdrawing a little bit from you. It's not because I don't love you, because I do. I love you very much, but there's just this thing there that is hard for me to get past. And I'm working on it right now. And I just want you to know that that's happening for me right now so that you don't take it personally. You don't think that, like, I don't want to be with you right now or something along those lines. So there's another example for you. And of course, it's really effective. She loves it when I do that because I'm connecting with her in that. And I love it because, it's asking me to let go of this defense system where I am separate and I am in like an ego place and autonomous, which is another form of, conditioned arrogance in a certain way. An example of what I might do with myself is, like, let's say this happened not too long ago, where it was an evening. I wasn't feeling well, and what my heart really wanted to do was come down to the creek that's right outside the barn here and just sit on the rock for a while and be with myself and kind of take care of myself emotionally while I wasn't feeling well. But what I did instead was I distracted myself. I watched a video about something, and the thing I watched was completely innocuous and innocent, and there wasn't anything to feel bad about in that. But I felt that I hadn't been true to myself, and I hadn't given myself what I really wanted. So, and this is more subtle, when it's with just myself, it's more subtle. But it's also, we can do a similar kind of thing. And so what I did was, within myself, I went to the part of me who felt disappointed about that, and I said, I'm really sorry. I feel like I let you down. And I know you really wanted to go be by the creek because that was really what we needed in that moment. And I succumbed to this coping behavior to deal with not feeling well instead. And so I just want to tell you that I saw that and I acknowledge that, and I'm going to do the best I can to keep that from happening in the future and make sure that we have what we really need. Okay? So hopefully those examples are helpful. So just choose something in your life and practice with it. And something that's small and something that you can actually address in a tangible way so that you know that you're doing that. And if it will involve speaking to someone or speaking maybe to a part of you if you don't feel comfortable doing that with another person, and see what happens. And the attitude of mind that I want to suggest that you adopt as you do this is that it's not about the thing. It's not about cleaning the thing up, even though that's what you'll be doing. And there'll be a nice benefit if you manage to clean something up with someone or with yourself. but it's more about practicing that. It's more about seeing the conditioning that is there that would keep you from being able to address the places where you perhaps have been unskillful or have acted from conditioned mind in some way, and address that. Okay? So it's more about the practice, more about the process instead of the result. Okay, so I hope that's clear. And so give yourself a chance to decide what it is that you want to practice with, and then, go out and take care of it, clean it up as best you can, see what happens, and then if you feel like it, report in on the class. And I would love it if you did, if you would feel like it and you would report in the class, because it's fun for me and it's helpful for everybody else just to kind of see what people are dealing with. Okay, good. All right, so I'm just going to do a short guided imagery with you now that's just sort of along these lines, and it's just also an opportunity just to let go and get centered and feel good in the middle of your day, wherever you are. Okay? So if you would, get into some kind of guided imagery position. You'd be welcome to lie down if that would feel good for you. If you feel like you might be sleepy, that might not be a good idea. You could sit up instead. And so go ahead and get yourself into a good position, and then whenever you feel ready, close your eyes. And then, as we generally do with these, turn your attention first to your breath and your breathing. Feeling your breath as it enters your body and fills your body and leaves your body. Allow yourself in this moment, just as best you can, as much as you can right now, to fully be here. To fully be present in your awareness. Notice if there is anything that would tend to distract you right now, that would tend to pull your attention away. If you notice anything like that, just see if you can let it go. See if you can just set it aside so that you can fully attend to this guided imagery. Knowing that if you need to, and if you want to, you can pick it up later, again, to work with. Now, if you would, look around inside your body. Notice the state of your body right now and the sensations that are present in your body right now. Notice, are there any places where there's tension or pain? If they are, just see if you can be present with those sensations. And you might try breathing into those sensations, just to see what happens, just to see if they soften up a little, or if there's more space around them with the application of the breath. Okay, and now if you would, move your attention to your emotional state. What are you feeling right now? There isn't any need to try to fix or change or push away any feelings or emotions you might have. Just allow whatever you're feeling to be here and fully experience it. Fully be, as best you can, in the experience of feeling what you feel. And now, if you would, take a moment to check in with your mind, with the state of your mind, and also with the thoughts that occupy your mind, whatever they may be. And again, just like with the emotions, no need to try to change anything or fix anything or push anything away. Just notice what's there. Allow the thoughts to just arise and pass away, whatever they may be. Okay, and now if you would, become aware of your body again. And become aware of the fact that you have a body. And notice how it is that you have a body, but you are not your body. You are something in your essence other than your body. You possess a body, but you are not your body. Notice, if you will, your sensations, whatever they may be. Become aware of your sensations. Notice that you have sensations, but you are not your sensations. Who you are in essence is something other than your sensations. Who you are is something that experiences sensation. And now, similarly, notice and become aware of your perceptions. Notice that you have faculties to perceive through your eyes and your ears and your nose and your skin. And notice what it is that you perceive right now, whatever that may be. And recognize as well that you have perceptions, but who you are in essence is not your perceptions. Your perceptions are not who you are. They are something that you experience. And now, if you would, notice your thoughts and become aware of your thoughts. And recognize that you are not your thoughts. You have thoughts. You have the capacity to think, but the thoughts are not who you are. Instead, you are someone, something. You are in essence an awareness that experiences thought. You are not your thinking. And notice, finally, your identity or your identities. Become aware of the person who you believe that you are, that you were conditioned to think that you are. And just like with the other things that we've gone through, notice how it is that you are not your identity. You are not the person who you believe yourself to be. You have identity that was given to you a long time ago. But you are someone who has identity, who has the ability to take on identity. But you are not that identity. In a way, we might say that in essence, you are the awareness of identity and thought and perception and sensation and your body. Who you are is the awareness that can hold all of the experience that you have. And now, if you would, I would invite you to hold in gratitude this being that you are. This being of awareness that has a body and sensations and perceptions and thoughts and is subject to identity. See if you can allow gratitude to arise for this person who you have been all along, all these years. And if you would, acknowledge the goodness of this person. Acknowledge the loving heart that this person brings into the world. Acknowledge the willingness that this person has to do the hard work of spiritual practice. Because you each have that. We all have that, those of us who are engaged in this class. We all have the willingness to look deeply into ourselves. And as painful and difficult, as challenging as it can be, to see the ways we've been conditioned and to let that go so that we can experience who we really are, so that we can experience our authentic nature. Hold in gratitude, as much as you're able, that willingness and the person who you are that has that willingness, who owns that willingness and has been acting out of that willingness and through that willingness to do all of the work that you've done in your life to be the best person that you can be. Thank that person for being here. Appreciate yourself for the way you've shown up in this life. For the way that you've worked through the challenges and difficulties that have been an inherent part of your existence in this life and in this world. Appreciate yourself for the beautiful, good, and willing person that you are. And now, whenever you feel ready, let that go and return your attention to your breath. And feel your body breathe. Take some nice, long, deep, full breaths. And then just whenever you feel ready, open your eyes. Thank you, as always, for being here. Thank you for your attention and your willingness. Thank you for your practice. And thank you for the way you are showing up for your life and also for this class. Take good care of yourselves today and in the days that follow, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon in the class or elsewhere.